Hi everyone, and welcome to my channel. Today, we're going to be talking about car alternator problems. Alternators are essential components of your car's electrical system, responsible for charging the battery and powering all your electrical accessories. When they start to malfunction, it can lead to a whole host of problems, leaving you stranded on the side of the road. In this video, we'll be covering the common symptoms of a failing alternator, how to diagnose the problem, and your options for repair. We'll also be discussing some preventative measures you can take to keep your alternator in good working order. So, if you've been experiencing any electrical issues with your car, or you just want to learn more about alternators, then be sure to stick around for this informative video. The car alternator is a vital component of your vehicle's electrical system. It's responsible for converting mechanical energy from the engine into electrical energy that powers your car's battery and various electrical components. Here's a breakdown of how it works. Rotation. The alternator is driven by a belt connected to the engine's crankshaft. As the engine runs, the belt spins the alternator's rotor, which is a cylindrical magnetic field. The spinning rotor creates a magnetic field that interacts with the stationary coils of wire in the stator, the outer part of the alternator. Electricity generation. This interaction between the magnetic field and the coils induces an electric current in the stator. This current is alternating current, AC, meaning it constantly changes direction. Rectification. The AC current is then converted to direct current, DC, by a set of diodes. DC is the type of electricity used by your car's battery and other components. Voltage regulation. The alternator's voltage regulator ensures that the output voltage remains within a specific range, typically around 14 volts. This prevents damage to your car's electrical system. If you suspect your car's alternator is having problems, there are several symptoms to watch out for. Dim headlights. This is one of the most common signs of a failing alternator. As the alternator output decreases, the voltage supplied to the headlights drops, causing them to dim. Electrical problems. Other electrical components, such as the radio, wipers, and power windows, may also malfunction or stop working altogether. Battery warning light. The battery warning light on your dashboard will illuminate if the alternator is not charging the battery properly. Slow or difficult starting. If your car is slow to start or cranks but doesn't turn over, it could be a sign of a weak battery caused by a faulty alternator. Burning smell. In severe cases, a failing alternator can produce a burning smell due to overheating. If you experience any of these symptoms, it's important to have your car's alternator checked by a qualified mechanic. They can perform various tests to diagnose the problem and determine if the alternator needs to be repaired or replaced. Many cars have an alt or gen light on the dashboard that indicates a problem with the charging system. If this light comes on while you're driving, it means the alternator is not charging the battery properly. You should pull over to a safe location and have your car towed to a mechanic as soon as possible. By understanding how the alternator works and the symptoms of a failing alternator, you can take steps to diagnose and address the problem before it leaves you stranded on the side of the road. The first step in diagnosing alternator problems is to test its output. This can be done with a multimeter, which measures voltage. Start the engine and rev it to 2000 RPM. Touch the multimeter probes to the battery terminals. The voltage reading should be between 13.5 and 14.5 volts. If the voltage is lower than 13.5 volts, the alternator is not charging the battery properly. If the voltage is higher than 14.5 volts, the alternator is overcharging the battery, which can damage it. The solenoid is a switch that connects the battery to the alternator. If the solenoid is faulty, the alternator will not be able to charge the battery. To check the solenoid, turn the ignition key to the start position. You should hear a click as the solenoid engages. If you don't hear a click, the solenoid is probably faulty. The alternator belt drives the alternator. If the belt is loose or worn, it will not be able to spin the alternator fast enough to generate enough electricity. Inspect the belt for cracks, tears, or excessive wear. If the belt is damaged, it should be replaced. Loose connections can also prevent the alternator from charging the battery. Check the connections at the battery, the alternator, and the solenoid. Make sure that the connections are clean and tight. If any of the connections are loose, tighten them. If you suspect that your alternator is not working properly, take it to a qualified mechanic for diagnosis and repair. A faulty alternator can damage your battery and other electrical components in your car.